Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a book that tackles one of the most disturbing and controversial topics of our time, Satanism. The book in question is Satanism Real? By Father Jeffrey J. Steffon, a priest and researcher who sought to expose the hidden dangers of satanic influence in modern society. While many skeptics dismiss Satanism as a theatrical subculture or mere shock value rebellion, Steffon presents a compelling case that it is far more than that. Through detailed case studies, first-hand accounts and spiritual insights, he argues that Satanism is a very real force, one that has infiltrated our culture, our youth, and even the justice system in ways most people fail to recognize. Father Steffon wastes no time in addressing the heart of the matter. Satanism is not just a religious alternative or a misunderstood philosophy. It is a direct and deliberate rejection of God, rooted in dark rituals, criminal activity, and, in some cases, even demonic possession. He categorizes Satanism into three groups: religious Satanists, those who openly worship Satan and perform ritual sacrifices; self-styled Satanists, individuals who claim allegiance to Satan, often for personal gain, power, or justification for criminal acts; dabblers, young people, often teenagers, who engage in satanic rituals out of curiosity, sometimes unknowingly inviting real spiritual dangers into their lives. While many assume that most so-called Satanists fall into the dabbler category, Steffon presents compelling evidence that organized satanic groups do exist, operating in secrecy and committing unspeakable acts behind closed doors. One of the most disturbing cases Steffon highlights is that of Sean Sellers, a 16-year-old who brutally murdered his parents in 1986. What made this case particularly chilling was that Sellers was deeply involved in Satanism. He later testified that he was under demonic possession at the time of the murders, claiming that he had been practicing satanic rituals, drawing symbols in blood, and experiencing supernatural occurrences leading up to the killings. While secular psychologists attempted to dismiss his claims as mental illness or fabricated excuses, Father Steffon sees Sellers' case as a tragic example of what happens when a person surrenders themselves to dark forces. Sellers' descent into Satanism wasn't just about rebellion. It was a pathway to demonic control, a clear warning of what happens when one toys with the occult. Beyond Sean Sellers, Father Steffon presents several other chilling real-life cases where Satanism played a central role. One such case is that of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, a notorious serial killer in the 1980s who committed unspeakable crimes in the name of Satan. During his murder spree, Ramirez left satanic symbols at crime scenes and would often declare his allegiance to the devil. In court, he even raised his hand to display a pentagram drawn on his palm, shouting, "Hail Satan!" Steffon argues that Ramirez's crimes were not just acts of a deranged mind, but were driven by a deliberate spiritual corruption, one that was fueled by his deep immersion in satanic ideology. Another case Steffon highlights is David Berkowitz, the infamous son of Sam Killer. Berkowitz initially claimed his murders were directed by a demonic entity that spoke to him through his neighbor's dog. However, later interviews revealed that he had been part of a satanic cult in New York City that encouraged ritualistic killings. He later confessed that his crimes were connected to occult practices and that there were more cult members still out there, a revelation that continues to fuel speculation about hidden satanic networks. To further emphasize the connection between Satanism and violent crime, Steffon discusses the Chicago Ripper Crew, a group of men who, in the 1980s, abducted, tortured, and murdered women in what prosecutors described as satanic rituals. The group, led by Robin Gecht, followed twisted rituals that involved mutilation and sacrificial acts. While skeptics tried to dismiss their crimes as mere insanity, Steffon argues that their methods and confessions point to genuine satanic worship rather than random acts of violence. Perhaps one of the most eye-opening sections of the book is Steffon's analysis of how Satanism has subtly infiltrated mainstream culture. He argues that music, movies, and even children's entertainment have been laced with occult symbols, satanic messages, and anti-Christian sentiments. Heavy metal bands in the 1980s, for example, frequently used demonic imagery in their album covers, lyrics, and stage performances. While some claim this was all for show, Steffon exposes that many musicians were genuinely involved in satanic practices. He highlights testimonies from former industry insiders who claim that certain artists have sold their souls for fame and fortune. Steffon points to Hollywood as a major source of satanic influence. Movies like The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, and The Omen weren't just entertainment, he argues. They were conditioning the public to either fear or trivialize the reality of demonic possession. For those who doubt the reality of demonic possession, Steffon provides multiple first-hand accounts of exorcisms that he either witnessed or learned about from fellow priests. He describes individuals who, after engaging in satanic rituals, displayed supernatural abilities, speaking in unknown languages, exhibiting inhuman strength, and even knowledge of private details about priests attempting to perform the exorcisms. One particularly terrifying case involved a young man who had dabbled in Ouija boards and occult rituals. After experiencing disturbing visions and unexplained physical attacks, he sought the help of a priest. During the exorcism, he reportedly spoke in multiple voices at once, cursed God in languages he had never learned, and displayed impossible physical strength. It took multiple sessions of prayer and fasting before the entity finally released its hold on him. Steffon makes it clear, Satanism is not just an edgy hobby, it's a gateway to spiritual destruction. Father Jeffrey J. Steffon's book Is Satanism Real? Is a wake-up call. It shatters the illusion that Satanism is just a fringe movement with no real power. He presents overwhelming evidence that it is a force actively working in our world, preying on the lost, the curious, and the disillusioned. Steffon warns that ignoring these dangers or dismissing them as conspiracy theories only allows them to spread unchecked. Whether it's through media, secret organizations, or misguided individuals, Satanism has been seeping into our culture, influencing the vulnerable and leading them down a dark path. The Catholic Vine recommends this book to any discerning Catholics, and you can find a link to the book in the video description. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more great Catholic content. Stay safe, stay strong, and may God bless you all.